We measured returns before 155,684 earnings announcements over 25 years. The overall drift? Small. Just positive 0.121% above SPY in the 10 trading days before the announcement. But that overall number hides the real story. Habitual beaters drifted positive 0.289%. Habitual missers fell negative 0.321%. That's a 61 basis point spread between two groups of stocks, both approaching the same event, in the same market, over the same window. This is a pre-event study. Instead of measuring what happens after earnings, we measure what happens before. For each earnings announcement, we compute the stock's historical beat rate using only data available before that date. Events are categorized into three groups: habitual beaters with more than 75% beat rate over 8 or more prior quarters, mixed at 25 to 75%, and habitual missers below 25%. We measure returns at multiple windows before the announcement: 10 trading days out, 5 days out, and 1 day out. For each window, we compute the stock's return from that earlier date to the announcement date and subtract the S&P 500 ETF SPY return over the same period. That gives us the cumulative abnormal return. We also measure the day after the announcement for comparison to see whether the pre-earnings drift continues or reverses. The universe is NYSE, NASDAQ, and AMX stocks above $1 billion market cap, spanning 2000 to 2025. All returns are Windsorized at the 1st and 99th percentiles to control for outliers. Barber, DeGeorge, Levy, and Truman, 2013, documented the earnings announcement premium across 46 countries. Stocks systematically appreciate in the days leading up to scheduled earnings. The premium is driven by anticipatory positioning. Investors who expect a beat buy ahead of the announcement, creating a measurable drift. We stratify by beat rate because that's what the market uses to form expectations. The hypothesis: stocks with higher beat rates attract more pre-event buying, creating a larger run-up. Habitual missers should show flat or negative returns as the market positions defensively. This is different from post-earnings announcement drift, which requires knowing the actual surprise after the fact. The pre-earnings approach is forward-looking. You can identify candidates before the event happens. The full dataset covers 155,684 events with pre-announcement return data. All three pre-announcement windows are statistically significant, and the effect is largest in the pre-event window. The aggregate T+1 is also significant, but that's driven by the mixed cohort. The cleaner picture lives in the tails. When we split by beat history, both habitual beaters and habitual missers go quiet on announcement day, while the pre-event drift stays loud. The stratification by beat rate is where the signal concentrates. Habitual beaters, more than 75% beat rate, 22,788 events, consistent drift across all three pre-announcement windows. Then T+1 drops to a T-stat of 1.93, just below the 5% significance line. The pre-event positioning is what's loud here. The announcement itself is already in the price. Habitual missers, less than 25% beat rate, are the mirror image. They drift negative 0.321% at T-10, with a T-stat of negative 2.51. At T+1 they finish at negative 0.141%, T-stat of negative 1.83, not statistically significant. So in both tails, the action sits before the announcement, not on it. The market doesn't just reward expected beats. It penalizes expected misses before they happen. The spread between beaters and missers at T-10 is 61 basis points. That's two groups of stocks, both approaching the same event, but the market has already separated them based on their credibility. Mixed stocks, 25 to 75% beat rate, sit close to the overall average at positive 0.107%, T-stat of 5.53. Most of the universe falls in this bucket, and most of the universe shows a small pre-earnings effect. The cleanest version of the story still lives in the tails. Quintile analysis confirms the pattern is monotonic. Sort all events into 5 groups by beat rate and the gradient is consistent. Q5 to Q1 spread, 44 basis points. Q1 stocks actively lose ground before they announce. Q5 stocks rally. The crossing point is roughly the mid-40s beat rate, which is Q1 to Q2 territory. The hit rate pattern mirrors this. Q1 shows 47.2% positive days. Q1-5 shows 51.9%. Small numbers, but consistent with a real distributional shift, not noise. Timing and implementation. The premium doesn't distribute evenly across the 10-day window. For habitual beaters, the first 5 days contribute about 0.077% of abnormal return. That's early institutional positioning. Quiet accumulation. The next 4 days add 0.097% as options hedging ramps up and more investors become aware of the upcoming announcement. The final day before the announcement contributes 0.115% alone, when implied volatility peaks and last-minute positioning is strongest. The acceleration toward the announcement date has a practical implication. Entering 5 days before earnings captures most of the premium with half the capital commitment, but at positive birdie 0.212% gross return for the T-5 window. The margins are thin after transaction costs. There's a natural chain here with PE odd. Buy before earnings to capture the run-up. If the company beats, hold through the post-earnings drift. If it misses, exit. This links 2 documented anomalies together across the event timeline, and it's fully forward-looking until the announcement. The positive 0.289% gross return for habitual beaters looks clean on paper. After bid-ask spreads and market impact, the net capture shrinks. This matters more for smaller names in the beater cohort, especially in earlier periods when spreads were wider. 2 trades per event. Buy at T-10 or T-5. Sell at the announcement date, and the signal is small enough that costs take a real bite. Earnings date accuracy is a real concern. Calendar dates aren't always exact, especially for historical data. If the actual announcement was a day earlier or later than recorded, the pre-event windows are misaligned. This adds noise and likely understates the true effect. Beat rate stability is another issue. We compute beat rate using all available history before each event. A management change, a competitive disruption, or a shift in guidance philosophy can break a beat streak. But the full history rate won't reflect it until several misses accumulate. A rolling window of the last 8 quarters might be more predictive than the lifetime average. SPY is a simple benchmark. A multi-factor model would more precisely isolate the pre-earnings effect from momentum, quality, and size exposures that habitual beaters tend to carry. And the habitual misser cohort, 4,373 events, is small relative to the overall universe. Low beat rate companies may face survivorship issues, delisting, or coverage loss. The premium is documented in academic literature and widely known since 2013. Institutional investors trade on it. More capital chasing the same signal compresses returns over time. That's what the data shows across 155,684 events and 25 years. The pre-earnings run-up is real, statistically significant, and concentrated in habitual beaters. The overall effect is modest, but the spread between beaters and missers, 61 basis points at T10, shows the market separating expected outcomes before they happen. Full results, charts, and the analysis code are on the blog. Link in the description. Screen for upcoming earnings and historical beat rates on cetaresearch.com. Subscribe for more backtested strategies every week.